Rafaela is a new student at your institution. She finds herself overwhelmed by the flurry of email reminders, deadlines, and academic and non-academic tasks that she must accomplish to begin her college journey. Thankfully, she has an assigned coach to help her along the way. Throughout this video, we will use the term high-impact coaching, which refers to coaching that follows evidence-based best practices. We define a coach broadly as someone who supports a student throughout their time at college. High-impact coaching can be provided by an academic advisor, a counselor, a student navigator, a coach attached to a certain student success program, or others. High-impact coaching can also be achieved by a combination of staff members working in concert to support students. It doesn't have to be the actions or efforts of a single coach. In this video, we will discuss 3 evidence-based elements of high-impact coaching, which is a fundamental component of a comprehensive student supports model. These elements are holistic advising, caseload structure and meeting frequency, and proactive student outreach. What is holistic advising? Students face barriers inside and outside of the classroom, and holistic advising provides academic and non-academic support to students. Holistic advising can include identity development, emotional support, basic needs support like connecting students with food banks, academic support like taking advantage of professor office hours and accessing online learning materials, and help with time management, financial skills, and career exploration. What does it take to implement holistic advising at your institution? Think about the different ways in which you can staff coaching. In some institutions, academic and non-academic needs are divided between an academic advisor who registers students for classes and a student support coach who gives workshops on study skills, for instance. In others, an academic advisor takes on both roles. Many staffing approaches can work. It's just important to be clear about division of responsibilities across departments. Create a cohort of coaches with diverse backgrounds and experiences. Representation matters. Students find it easier to trust their coaches when they have something meaningful in common with them. For example, if the coach was a first-generation student, or if they share an identity like race or gender with their students may be more likely to come to them with their questions and doubts. Meet with your coaching team regularly as a group to discuss students' challenges and to offer support to one another. Sometimes providing holistic advising can feel overwhelming. But the point isn't that a single coach has to have all the answers. Instead, each coach is a student's go-to person to help them identify their needs and figure out how to address them. Convene your entire coaching team regularly to talk about students' challenges and possible solutions. One coach on the team might have a great relationship with the tutoring center staff, for example, and another person might have a strong connection with the advising department. Collectively, the coaching team builds a network of support for their students, and no coach functions in a vacuum. Create a master topics calendar to ensure that key milestones are being reached consistently by coaches. A master calendar ensures that coaches are having themed, well-timed conversations throughout the year, and that information and reminders about these topics are consistent across the coaching team. Topics could include applying for financial aid, registering for classes, studying for midterms, and planning for the summer. Make sure to include personal check-ins as part of the topics calendar. Finding out more about what students are struggling with outside of the classroom can lead to more timely interventions and resource referrals, allowing coaches to head off problems before they become barriers to the student's success. Now let's talk about caseload structure and meeting frequency. Coaches need a supportive framework to ensure that they can provide adequate care and attention to each student within their caseload. In the coaching structures we've studied, students are organized into caseloads that range from 80 to 150 students per full-time coach. Students are paired with the same coach throughout their time in college and are required to meet with coaches twice a month in their first year and at least once a month in the following year. Coaching teams should consider several factors when determining the caseload ratio that will work for their campus. The extent to which coaches need to juggle other responsibilities in addition to supporting the students on their caseload. The nature and intensity of support that students in the program need, and how much time coaches will require to enter and retrieve case management data from their campus's management information system. The goal is to establish caseloads that are small enough for coaches to proactively reach out to students and build long-term, meaningful relationships with them. You might consider starting with a ratio of 100 students per full-time coach and then adjusting the caseload size over time as you assess the needs of your students and coaching staff. What does it take to implement this high-touch caseload structure at your institution? Offer group coaching sessions or workshops that count towards requirements students must meet. For example, a student could attend a FAFSA 101 workshop and a one-on-one coaching session to fulfill their twice-a-month requirement. Attending group sessions or workshops also helps introduce students to a broader range of staff members and resources on campus and promotes a sense of social belonging by bringing students together. Consider a triage advising approach, where students are assessed based on the urgency and nature of their support needs. After the first semester or year of coaching, a coach can use a rubric to determine which students need more support and which ones need less. For example, a coach's caseload might be 60% students who meet with their coach twice a month, 30% students who meet once a month, and 10% less engaged students who are not responding to coach's outreach. This approach only works if a coach can monitor students proactively enough to pull them back into twice-a-month meetings as needed. What is proactive student outreach? Students receive reminders about coaching appointments and key milestones throughout the month via several modes of communication: emails, texts, calls, snail mail, and in-person contacts. We know from our research that students get overwhelmed by the amount of communication coming at them from sources both within and outside of school. When we ask students what they most appreciate about their coaches, one common response is that they can rely on their coach to tell them what's important and how to take action. That reduces a lot of anxiety and confusion for the student. What does it take to implement proactive outreach to students at your institution? Leverage automated communication systems within MIS platforms on your campus or throughout external communication tools. Some colleges use third-party texting and other messaging platforms, or their MIS systems have these features built in. Coaches can be given access to these systems, which makes texting and setting up auto reminders easier. Enlist support from other staff on campus to assist with general communications, like sending reminders. For manual messages, many teams use student workers or front office administration staff to send things out using routines and templates designed by coaches. Make the messages easy to understand and act on. When drafting student-facing communications, use clear, direct language so students know what to do next. Keep students who have disengaged or left school on coaches' caseloads. Leave no student behind. Coaches should continue to reach out to students who have stopped engaging with them, as well as students who have left school before completing a degree or certificate or transferring to another school. Both groups of students are considered part of the coach's caseload, and coaches should be held accountable for persistently following up with them with the goal of getting these students to re-engage. Of course, the frequency and content of this outreach will be different from students who are active, but there's a leave no student behind mentality in the most successful programs.